If you love movies, you're in the right place, and that place is here at the Chronicle, the official film podcast of the People's Movies. Welcome back, and welcome to episode 62 of the podcast. And thank you very much for everyone joining us and supporting the podcast on any of the other, downloading any other episodes as well. As ever, my name is Paul. I'm your co-host. I'm also the editor of the People's Movies. And it's a big hello again to Rosie, who's joined me for this review. How are you, Rosie?
Good, thank you.
Welcome. Myself and Rosie are going to review The Invite, the Seth Rogen Olivia Wilde movie, which has just been released in UK cinemas. Before we get started, folks, this film might be a little bit tricky, as in spoilish type things. We don't do them deliberately, but if we do have to spoil something in this, we do apologise. It was just for the sake of doing this podcast. If that's the sake, why not go and watch the movie and then come back and listen to this podcast? Might be a better idea. So, Rosie, we're just going right into the movie. Can you let the folks know what the film's about and if you liked it or didn't like it?
Yeah, so The Invite is directed by Olivia Wilde and she also stars in it. And her and Seth Rogen, they're a couple that live in an apartment and they have some neighbours upstairs that she has invited for a dinner party and it starts almost quite tense. They come around, Seth Rogen's character does not want them there. And as the film progresses, things start to unravel in many different ways. It almost in the trailer makes it seem like it's going to be quite a steamy film, but it's almost the opposite by the end. And it all takes place in this one apartment. So the whole like hour and 45 minutes that the film is all in that apartment, almost in real time. So I think it's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars.
Ooh,
I thought it was really well done. Probably the best film she's directed so far out of her few. Um, and yeah, it was really interesting. I was referring to it a bit like a Marriage Story 2.0, which we can maybe describe more about why I thought that later.
yeah, I liked it as well. The film did definitely surprise me, and if anyone's read any of my opinions or reviews on the website, or even on the podcasts, because we've done Bridget Jones' Diary, which I know it's not necessarily the same, but it will come under the same genre. It's a genre that I rarely watch, or it's a genre that may not relate to everyone, and obviously the comedy part. When it comes to sort of comedy, comedy came a bit too childish at times, and it was sort of relying on the sort of slapstick side of things, and rather than going some sort of dialogue driven or some observational, the invite, I think, in my opinion, does that. It gives you that option, and I think it's something very farcical, very chaotic. But what I also liked about it is it's not scared to go to uncomfortable places, sort of when it's confronting issues. What I think the most of all about it is it's very grounded because the issues, especially if you're a couple, very relatable. What did you think of the comedy, Rosie?
Oh, I thought it was really good. I think sometimes comedy is like way too obvious, and this one was like a perfect balance. It didn't feel like it was a super funny film. I didn't leave that thinking, oh, like that was amazingly funny. But I think there was quite a few really good laughs in it, and I want to say that I thought Edward Norton was really brilliant in his role. I thought like he was playing such an interesting character, and there was like so many layers to his character, I think.
Yeah.
And he had some really funny moments without it didn't feel like they were trying to be funny, but they just were. And I think like it's very difficult when it is a film in one space with only four actors really, and they bounced off each other so well. I mean, Seth Rogen, like he's very well known for comedy. Yeah, I thought he actually had quite a serious approach to his character as well as being funny. Um, and I was really surprised by his performance as well. I thought the way that everything panned out was done so tastefully to an extent. Like it didn't, even though it's classed as a comedy film, it felt like a drama and a comedy, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I admit I never really read up much about it because our last film, Don't Worry Darling, was a bit of a hit and miss with me. I felt the wrath of that at work because there's a few of the girls that are massive Harry Styles fans and they made
Mm.
sure that I knew, how dare you uh, rip Harry Styles apart. I said, no, this is his acting side of things. It wasn't it wasn't just him. It was other things with that film. It was so it had interesting ideas, but it never got where it should have been. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the reviews, including this one, I'm going to say is with you've already pointed is Seth Rogen. It's a film. It seems to have been set up for his sort of humour.
Mm,
It's he likes, he's sort of sarcastic, sort of deadbeat humour at times, and it's the sort of his timing. It's sort of really it's his timing really hits it for us. And I feel at times, because his character Joe, he's a very furious, pathetic man of a character. He sort of gives up too easy. This film was perfect for his sort of humour, very raw. Timing was really good as well.
mm.
But I would love a film, right? I think you go way back to that film that he did with Mr. Franco, no, James Franco, who he's
Yeah,
no friends with, and we won't mention much about it because there's been a lot of accusations towards him. The one where there were, was it Knights? Or Pineapple Express, even the one with the Knights. Was that the one with, oh, what's her name again? Natalie Portman. Ah, forgive
I'm
me.
not sure if I've
It's
seen it.
a long, long time ago. They're all stone.
Mm.
He's always a stoner in it, and he's always wanting to take a, well, wait to say it, a joint. He's always wanting to smoke one. And he does it in this. I would love a film just for him not to do that. However,
Yeah,
as I've been reading up about it, it was all set up for his style and that. Fair enough, this is part of his style, sort of their smoking one, because his last film that I saw, the one with Keanu Reeves, no, the Keanu Reeves was the one, it was like a Trading Places type movie where Keanu Reeves was in like the angel.
yes, yeah. I
Yeah,
haven't seen it, but I know what you mean.
yeah, yeah. In that, he's done it in that. Fair enough. It's the type of character he plays. Yeah, this was set up for it. Are you aware that this is sort of based on a Spanish film?
Yes, yes. It does say at the beginning as well. I haven't seen the source material. And I don't know like how similar it was. I do think what you said about the blood. I guess it was like in a sense like a plot device just to get him alone with Penelope Cruz's character
Yeah,
Tina just for a little bit to kind of
yeah,
move it forward. But they could have done that in many ways. But it was a moment to like look around his office and set that as a plot point as well, I think. But yeah, I don't know much about the source material it was based off. I know Olivia Wilde like didn't write this; it was written by Will McCormack and
Rashida
or
Jones.
co-written with him. Yeah, Rashida Jones. So it was just given to Olivia to direct, and it's very different from her too. Like, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever seen Bottoms?
Bottoms, no.
No.
You mean the recent
Wait, no,
film,
the story. It's not Bottoms, is it? It's what's that film?
Booksmart?
Booksmart. Yeah. Have you
Yes,
seen that?
yes, yes, I
Yeah.
have.
It's very, very different. Like vibes. If you compare that Don't Worry Darling and this, they're all very different. So I guess she's establishing herself as a director who does not do the exact like the same genre the whole way through. I mean,
Yeah,
Booksmart's a comedy, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere near what The Invite is.
no, no. I feel that she seems to be more at home in the sort of indie side of filmmaking. Because Don't
Mm,
Worry Darling was obviously a Warner Bros. Film, so she had
yeah.
the budget. I'm not saying she didn't have the budget for this one.
Well,
She,
I I'm not sure she did. I heard that they told her that she couldn't film it on film, so she paid for that herself. So I'm
yeah,
assuming there wasn't the full budget there compared to things like Don't Worry Darling.
yeah, yeah. Because this is Black Pear Pictures released it in
Mm,
A24 in the US, which came out, I think it was a month or two before this.
mm,
I will say, folks, A24 gives you an idea what type of comedy, but it's not necessarily the exact same. I know the drama had some comedic moments. You could say it could be a companion piece for that, but I
mm.
would probably say this one, the Invite's probably a sort of more leaning on the comedy. But what I will say about this is obviously the comedy is still very tense. and you really get a hand of both of them really feel as well. Joe and Angela, like, obviously that's my two main because you can see they had the issues. You see really early on that they had the issues, and obviously they really want to talk. They can't really talk openly about it. You know, you can quickly see at the beginning of the movie how things are strained in a relationship,
Mm,
and then obviously that journey Joe has to take to get back home. I think it's San Francisco in it. They're based in.
yeah,
He's got some journey to get back. He's got one of the little foldable bikes. Then he goes in the underground, and then he has to go up all these massive hills. He's got a massive backpack in his bag, and then when he gets there, you know, and he just collapses in his pain. And before you know it, Angela doesn't give him a chance to get a breather, and she's on to him right away, and all says that trek is calling it a trek's a bit of an understatement as well. But at the same time, you also see sort of Angela's side, how you learn about her and how she's very obviously this is when we learn about how she invites is it Pina and Hawk up?
mm,
No, that's Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz. You see, she's very neurotic in nature, and I can sort of relate to it at things because she's a big chronic overthinker here. She
yeah,
keeps
and I think a
overthink.
perfectionist as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I think too much because I think at times when I'm trying to do stuff, and I'll say it with this website as well, I'm trying to not displease anyone. And she jumps into things before she actually thinks about it. And if you get into many spoilers here, folks, is the dinner she makes. She goes to Lem's for the dinner, not actually understanding if their neighbours have any sort of dietary needs as well.
Yeah.
Type thing. She's very insecure,
Yeah,
and
and it was all very rushed into as well. Like they pointed out that she'd only invited them for dinner that morning and had managed to create this perfect spread in like her perfect apartment and all of that. But
yeah,
and I think that she's very focused on like people's perception of herself and how they are as a couple. Like she just wanted everything to be perfect. Whereas like Seth Rogen's character is very much like, I want to discuss with them that they've been causing issues for us and like I want to do this. And she's like, no, not allowed. Like we have to present this perfect image and like all of this and I mean again a bit of a spoiler, but she points out that that apartment's not even like theirs, it's his parents. Um, so like when you think about the end, I think one of the first things I thought is because she's poured so much into that apartment and being perfect, and she might
yeah.
not even, be able to stay there depending on how things ended up after the film. But I don't know if you've seen Is This Thing On, the Bradley Cooper film,
I
but
haven't.
to
I
me it
haven't.
was very, I think there's like this new kind of genre of like drama comedies that are kind of related to topics of like relationship issues and navigating
Yeah,
family and relationships and seeing how that pulls out. There's been a few films now. You've got like Malcolm and Marie, Marriage Story Is This Thing On,
yeah,
The Invite. And I know that I think for Olivia Wilde, like she almost lived a very similar story, and she spoke about that on a podcast as well.
yeah.
She had to go through divorce like quite publicly, so I think it's quite interesting to see people almost pour their hearts out into their films like that as well.
Yeah. Who was it she was actually married to? Was it a fellow actor?
It was Jason Sudeikis, I
Oh,
want to say.
Sudeikis. Yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course, of
I'm
course.
pretty sure because I know when she was on the Don't Worry, Darling press tour, and she was with Harry Styles for a bit, but she actually got
That's
served
right.
um her like custody documents while she was on stage promoting the film,
Jeez.
which she spoke about recently on a podcast. But I think it was such a public divorce. So I think for this film to be her next one after Don't Worry, Darling is like almost a power move in a way. I think it's like a really good message, and she's really establishing herself after having a film that didn't do so well critically to come out with this. I mean, I think it's on like 94% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. It's got really good critic reception. So she's really establishing herself now, like with this film.
Yeah, yeah. She definitely is because a character Angela, as you said, she's a perfectionist as well, and Hawk constantly comments on her creativity, and I think that creativity is what sort of hiding the cracks in her sort of vulnerability, and her stopping, basically having a frank conversation with Joe. And Joe, he's the opposite. He's always exhausted constantly, and
Mm,
obviously the relationship is out sort of getting out the window. He's sort of lost his spark, and this could be a bit of a spoiler. There's something in his room, but he's unwilling. It's like a symbol to him, he's artistic
yeah,
sort of side of things, and it's sort of shutting down that side of things, and obviously his emotional side of things. And basically, Peanut and Hawk spark. Here we go, spark again. The two of them are calling out for, especially Angela.
mm,
Because with her neighbours, they have everything that she desires. The sort of vibrancy in their relationships, the youthfulness. But Joe, he sort of highlights the sort of stagnation in the relationship and the sort of repression about it, leaving her gone. What sort of went wrong here? With them. And
yeah. But I think there's like a perfect moment, like as you said, that she almost idolizes Pina and Hawk's relationship, even just from what they've heard through the walls. And as the night goes on, there's like kind of a moment between Pina and Hawk that makes them realize that they're not even perfect. Like
exactly,
there's they can sit there and they apologize to each other, but at the end of the day, they were almost mirroring exactly what was happening between those two. So I think that it is a really interesting thing, like that she'll sit there and half the film goes on about how she wishes she was in that situation, and she wants the approval from them. I mean, you had the window thing as well, and then she actually
yeah, I
sees
forgot
the
about
cracks in.
that.
Yeah, I was also just remembering the Ring doorbell footage as well when we talk about funny moments. But I think, yeah, she starts to realize that like that they're not a perfect couple either. Like the people that she's been idolizing are actually have some same reflections to her own, which I think is a really interesting thing. And I mean, like this is probably a big spoiler, but they kind of like vanish. They disappear, and it also makes
Yes,
you wonder if they were there truly for those two to figure out exactly where they stand with each other. And we don't fully know. They made a decision, but then something happens at the end that you will never fully know what happens after that moment. But I think it's a really like enlightening kind of idea about navigating relationships, and that no one is perfect, and can you come back from that? I think it opens some really interesting
yes.
conversations.
Yep, I'm talking of spoilers here as well. There's a certain 1993 film I was going to mention in it. Obviously, there's another word for invite. You might know what I'm talking about. It has, shall I just say it? It's
Yeah.
not. It might explain the noises. Indecent. I think this is the Indecent Proposal. That's the film with Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson and Robert Redford. I think this is the invite could be seriously seen as the sort of comedic sort of rom-com upgrade of that movie. Because obviously the 1983 film, the difference in that one was it was the financial side of things that was killing that relationship, and obviously the older man Robert Redford gives him the proposal to Demi Moore. That was a problem, but in this, obviously it's the actual relationship in it, and obviously don't I sound like I'm a therapist here, like Pina. I see sort of relationships in the 21st century with couples that I think they're more open to experimentation and things and sort of keep things
Mm.
afresh. I don't want to get into too many details because we're not that type of channel. And type of thing, and that's the sort of direction I think it was going, but as in a darker, sort of funnier way. And as you said, yeah, about they're not the Pina and Hawk are not perfect as well. And there's one sort of going back to the humour of Seth Rogen when Hawk explains something. He's been very open and frank. Everyone thinks Joe's cracking a joke about something that happened in Hawk's life.
Yeah.
And people, oh, that's terrible. But that's sort of, I know that's sort of, obviously, I watched it in a press screening in Glasgow.
Mm.
and there was a few that no, no sort of uncomfortable laughs type thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though yeah, it was cringy, but it was actually the way it sort of came across. You know, it was I could see why people were laughing at it,
Mm.
type thing. You know.
I think it's like it's very reflective. Like where you, a lot of people make jokes like out when they're at their lowest, and
Yeah.
he was going through it, and he just wanted to deflect, so he thought he'd make fun of him, and then it turned into this. Well, actually, this happened and this, and it was all the unraveling of everything. Um, and people like always find a bit of humor in that, and also like deflecting. I think because it was like I thought it was really interesting as well. The marketing of the film had me thinking it was something completely different to what it turned out to be. And it had such a perfect trailer. I don't know if you saw the trailer because I know you said you didn't see much before going in, but it really leaned to it being, it just shows them going for dinner and that two people want to have like like some kind of four-way relationship, and that's like what the trailer insinuates. Whereas that's a very small part of the film actually. So I thought it was really interesting how like, and that's why I said there's probably quite a lot of spoilers in here. You go into that film like absolutely not knowing where it will take you, almost like the characters did. They had no idea what the beginning of their dinner was going to be like, and it ends in a complete different way from how you may have assumed from the film you're going into, which I think is really interesting as well.
No, I haven't seen the trailer. Some films, I might know the name of it and what type of genre it is. I've got a habit.
Mm,
When it gets closer to the release, I may look at the trailer. Only time I really look at the trailer nowadays is if I'm obviously posting the trailer on the website,
yeah.
so I can obviously say a few things about it. But this was one that I didn't really say. And the press screening that I was saying, this was the one which I watched with Supergirl and Blue Heron and that
Mm,
awful Jodie Foster French film. Sorry, I know people are liking it more than me. I we what happens? We get an email sent through the FDA, the Film Distributors Association,
mm,
who run it, and they do the screenings in the London area as well. They give us a list, and I actually had to when I go through them. We do a little sort of running bet with the other writers, see what films may be playing. And I had to search that. I completely forgot about it. What movie it was, no, an invite. So yeah, I was well out of it. I knew it was a comedy of sorts, but I didn't know how comedic it was going to be. You know, probably it's one of the films that you could call it a dramedy
mm. Yeah, I
potentially.
think so. Because I actually thought from the trailer that it would lean more almost not like a full thriller, but almost like more tense. Like the trailer, I think they were really clever to. A lot of trailers give too much away these days, and I thought they'd done it really well. So I didn't even really know if it was going to be a comedy. I had no idea what I
Mm.
was getting myself into. All I'd seen was the trailer and who directed it.
Yeah,
Um, so I thought that was like it was really. It's not often you get to go into a film these days and like not know much about it at all. Whereas I think they managed to keep things like pretty under wraps for this. So it was really nice to go in and not know anything about it at all, even having watched the trailer. But yeah, their marketing definitely lent a little more like it would be a kind of like steamy kind of thriller that was like to do with these people getting with each other and all of that. When it's really in reality not that at all.
yeah, because it's more about looking in deep inside you about your relationships
Mm,
and if the relationship's stagnant, where is it going wrong and what we can do to solve it or not. Well, or if it's past its sort of date. I mean, to me, Angela, she at times she was like that teen girl who's fixated on bands and pop stars and male film stars or female film
yes.
stars. She might have been fixated when she was a girl type thing because she was just like she was always transfixed, and in a way that sort of pushed Joe sort of out his comfort zone as well. You know, to face himself and Joe sort of sees himself as a at times as a failure, uh, but and he uses that humour to sort of cover his insecurities and Angela, she's the opposite. She sort of is arguments. You're missing all your good points, Sharon. She's pointing out this, and that as well, you know. And I will say, when it comes to the humour, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm not the biggest fan of Seth Rogen, you know, in his sort of humour type. But as you said, and I'm about to say again, is this film was made for that sort of his sort of humour, you know. You know, it was set up for him, you know, very much. You know, his sarcastic, dry humour as well. And as in all the characters in general, I don't know about you, that none of them are really likable, but that's deliberate because that's
Mm,
you want to learn what about them, you know, and you do learn about them, and you learn about why they're like they are, you know, type thing. I don't know what you think.
yeah, yeah. I think like I actually couldn't. I think they were so perfectly cast. It's almost like difficult to imagine anyone else in those roles. I know when Olivia Wilde like first started working on it, she wasn't going to star in it, and they all told her that she should.
Yeah,
And even like because I know she acted in Don't Worry, Darling as well, but wasn't like a big character in it. And it must have been difficult to shoot a film like that that's so intensely in one place with four people whilst directing it as well. But she did it so perfectly. I thought she was perfect as Angela as well. Like each person had such a grasp of their character. I could not flaw any of the performances, and it was going to be a difficult award season. But like I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them nominated either. Because I think it's one that's going to go underrated, but I think there were some really, really good performances in there.
it's they must have take after take that kitchen scene at the end. They must
Mm,
they must. She said, no, overall, you know, she must have bust out laughing at times. The two of them must have bust out laughing at times, though, what was going on to get the actual perfect scene type thing. So let's just round things up and give our final thoughts. And then obviously, once again, if you want to give your rating.
yeah. So I gave it 4.5 stars. Um, I really just thought like it was done so well, and I really like a film that makes me think. Like the drama you mentioned earlier as well, like a film that sits there and I could have a conversation afterwards and really like dig my teeth into it. And I think there was a lot going on in that film that can make some really interesting conversations and say like has something to say. Um, so I really enjoyed that. I thought the shots were all really well done as well. Like shooting it on film was definitely the right decision. But I think technically it was a really well done film. Like I couldn't really saw anything about it. I'm just picky with my 5 stars now. I used to not be, so I'm trying to be a bit pickier. Hence the 4.5. But yeah, I think I thought it was a really really good film. It's not for everyone, but I think I really liked it. So yeah, I left very positive.
Yeah, surprisingly, I really liked it as well. I'm just shocked that I'm actually liking a Seth Rogen film better than what I've liked before. Olivia Wilde, I'm sort of hit and miss with her, and that's nothing to do with her. It might be just the films that she's appeared in. I'm not talking just the ones she's directed. There's the ones that she's
Yes,
appeared
yeah.
in. You know, might have not been the best in the world. Yeah, I liked how it misdirects you and takes you to different places. It's a very claustrophobic film. It
Mm,
wants you to feel uncomfortable, it wants you to ask these uncomfortable questions because that's the way we're going to get around things. Maybe maybe bringing different ideas into relationships might help as well. You know, it's a very cringeworthy comedy, but and I mean that in a positive way. You know, it's very awkward and very much like uh, Seth Rogen's style, very passive aggressive, very sarcastic tone to it. I'll call it a proper adult comedy. It actually goes in some conversational or on the dialogue, and people will relate to it. It's very grounded, you know, and because even if you're not had that experience, you might know somebody out there who's been there or hasn't been there. And all I'll say is no one escapes for this as well because it's not scary to go to dark places or somewhere emotional. No sort of deliver there. So I give it 4 stars. So for the invite, folks, that is a 4.5 and 4 stars. So there we have it, folks. That was your episode 62 of the Chronicle. The invite is now out in UK and Irish cinemas. And thank you to Black Bear for letting us see this movie. Look at your local listings, obviously, to find out what cinema near you it's on and what time it. Thank you very much, Rosie, for joining us. Would you like to let the listeners know where they can find your work online or in print?
Yep, so it's Rosie Reviews X on all social medias. And my website's rosiereviews.uk. And then obviously I write for the People's Movies as well.
Thank you very much. As in for myself, the Chronicle and the People's Movies, we're on Facebook at the People's Movie. Our main sort of social media these days seems to be Instagram at the People's Movies. You will find us sometimes on X and Twitter at the People's Movie. YouTube is another big place you'll find us. Find a lot of the podcast on YouTube. That's at the People's Movies.com. You also find our interviews and trailers and other interesting stuff there. You also find the actual episodes of the Chronicle and the Chronicle Take Two on many of the popular sites you download your favourite podcast. Things like Apple Podcasts, Podbean, which is our sort of main Podbean HQ, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, to name a few. As I said, sometimes we'll continue to chat on the Chronicle Take Two. You stay tuned on social media and at the People's Movies to find when the future episodes will be there. That's where you'll find future episodes of the Chronicle as well there. Another way you can do that is heading over to the website where you'll find where you can sign up for our email newsletter. That's where we keep you posting what things are happening, not just with the podcast at the website. You can you can show your support for the Chronicle and the People's Movies with Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal. You will find the links over at the website. Please do share this podcast on social media with your friends and family. And if you're listening to us on one of those popular podcast sites, please do give us a rating, because we are a very small podcast. And you sharing and rating it does help more people to find this podcast. Rosie, thank you very much for joining me. And thank you very much to you, the listeners. Until the next time, enjoy the movies.